To go. Run him. Stay on him. That him, boy. Angela, that's a sack on the ball. Good job. Yo, Rick.
Take me back into another time when we were still in love, a different life. It's a different life.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Brothers Blitz podcast.
Woo! Brothers Blitz, let's go.
That's right. The season is upon us. It is here.
Oh, less than 7 days until the first game. That's crazy.
As of this recording, yes.
As of this recording, yes.
Yeah. You'll be getting it a little bit later, but still before the season has started.
Right.
So these are going to be our season predictions for the entire year. We are going to do week one as well, just because of when this is going to come out. We figured we might as well go over our week one. So we're going to split this into 2 episodes. It's going to be our AFC predictions first, and then follow-up will be our NFC predictions. So make sure you check out both of those.
Both episodes, yes. Check them both out.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a fan, if you're only a fan of the AFC or NFC, check out both.
Yeah.
Because they're both be entertaining.
Yeah. And I got to say this, I may end up sounding incredibly stupid from these, from my predictions.
Me too. There are some where I'm just like, oh man, this feels right now, but I may look real dumb.
Yeah. So that the listeners know, Fox and I use. I forgot to say her names. That's Fox. I'm Jordan.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, Fox over here on the other end.
Yeah, there we go. So what we do is we use there was a website called Playoff Predictor where you can actually pick the actual wins week by week.
Right.
On it.
And as I discovered today, you can actually click on the individual team.
Right. And then
go just team by team and pick their games. And then what it does too, I'll give a little shout out here to Playoff Predictor, is that like take Bengals and Browns. If you pick the Bengals to win, it'll automatically update the Browns' record as well.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
cool.
Right, because you've already picked them to win again.
Because you've already picked them to lose. Yeah, so that's really cool.
So instead of just going, I think this team's going to be this record and this team's going to be this record, and then it turns out, well, that's not actually possible because of when they're playing, like where it's like, no, this is actually just like I'm going through and picking who's winning on each.
I'm going through each team's individual games and picking them or against them, depending on the game,
and then
obviously.
You see where you are at the end of that, and then you see how the playoff seeding shook out, because it also do the tiebreakers for you.
Yeah, they do.
And when you do that, sometimes you go, holy hell, what did I just do? So I did.
I mean, we had a little bit of that last season. I mean, and it ended up turning out 100% correct, but when I bought in on Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers, at the end of picking, I went, holy shit, do I really have the Buccaneers winning the division? And I did, and it worked out exactly like I picked it. Buccaneers won the division at 9-8, lost in the second round of the playoffs, right where I thought they would.
Yep. And so, it's just kind of an interesting way. It's a fun way to do it and makes it a little bit more like you're actually predicting what's going to be, because then you also get surprised. Like, well, if I just thought this team was going to win these games, and then it turns out, holy shit, they're 13-4.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I just texted somebody a few minutes ago and told them that I have the I don't want to spoil anything, so we'll get to it. But they their record is up in the air by 4 games based on coin toss games that I just happened to pick against them. So in all 4 of those coin toss games.
That can happen though in a year. Sometimes it's just like
in a single year that can happen.
Sometimes they go all your way. Sometimes none of them go your way. Right. I will say I did have to do a little of after I did my first batch, right, where I picked all the games. I had to go back and relook at all the games because apparently, and we'll get into the NFC for the next episode. And this isn't giving anything away because I went back and had to make adjustments and really look at all the games. I must be really down on the NFC East because I had the winning team at winning the division at 7-10, and I was like, well, that's just not real.
This season?
Yeah, I was like, that's not gonna happen.
Oh no!
So I had to go back.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I had to go back and go, obviously I'm too
Well,
low.
there were.
On the
I
NFC
had a
East.
couple of those. I had a couple of those as well when I was first picking. Like at one point, I forget. I think it was. Oh man, who was it? Real quick. Oh, it was the Texans. I had them weirdly at 9-0. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't right.
Yeah, right.
They're not gonna. I think they'll be really good, but they're not gonna be 9-0.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, so that's kind of the fun stuff. So that's how. Just so just in case you're curious about how we got there. So let's just go ahead and maybe we should just jump into our let's just do the week 1 predictions.
You want to do let's break down week 1 and then where we think the season will shake out after that. Yeah.
And we'll see where we are with that. So does this have it in
I have the Chiefs beating the Ravens in week 1. I don't think it'll be like last year where the Lions kind of come in and surprise them. I think they'll want to get that first win at Arrowhead, coming off back-to-back Super Bowls, and I know the Ravens will want to prove, we can beat this team. Like, we swear we can beat this team, but I don't know. In the end, it all seems a little bit like it'll be too much, and the Chiefs will end up winning that game.
Yeah, I picked the Chiefs too. It was a tough one though, just because you do have to keep in mind where the Chiefs are playing a long game, right? They're like we're going for a 3-peat. The Ravens are probably just a little bit more focused on this game because they want the revenge. The Chiefs aren't playing for revenge, but it's also the Chiefs at home celebrating coming off their second Super Bowl win. So I was trying to so I ended up with the Chiefs too because I was trying to factor in just the emotional level of it for both teams. And it's just like, well, the Ravens, sure, they're coming in with a lot of revenge and wanting to get that focus. But the Chiefs are going to also possibly be riding that high, right?
Right. Because then, I think it's different than last year when they opened with the Lions, even though the Lions had all that hype. It's like, you're now opening against the team you beat in their home to go to the Super Bowl, and then you won the Super Bowl. So you're really going to want to stick it to them again and be like, this is why we won.
That, and losing to the Lions isn't going to affect your tiebreakers or like things like that.
Or anything like that.
It's like beating the Ravens, they're probably going to be in the top arena again. It's like, no, we want to have a better record, or if we're tied, we want to have that tiebreaker. So I think there's extra.
It's crazy that there's playoff implications in week 1 because the Ravens are still most likely going to shake out to still be one of the best teams in the AFC.
Yeah. If you're assuming that they're both going to be in there, which is a pretty safe assumption, it feels like, then depending. I mean, depends. I mean, so
who knows? But I think with what you just said too, along with future seeding and all that, the Chiefs are going to want this game for sure.
Definitely. And then does it have? I don't think it has the game in order, does it?
Actually, on mine it does. Yes,
that's it.
It starts with the first Sunday games, all at 1 o'clock. Actually, mine has AFC and then AFC versus NFC, and then just NFC games.
Yeah, that's how I have it too. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fine.
Which I'm cool with. We can just go down that way.
Yeah, we'll just go down the way that it's done. So let's focus on the AFC against the AFC teams. So
I have the Bengals easily beating the Patriots.
Sorry, I think we cut out for a second. Okay.
Are we back?
Yeah, I think so. All right. So AFC. So I think Bengals against Patriots. That's an easy.
Bengals Patriots easy. Bengals win. Yeah.
Easy. I'd be shocked.
Joe Burrow's going to be healthy. I'm not afraid of that Patriots pass rush at all. So
and I will say one thing too on the Patriots end, especially since this one's going to be focused on the AFC anyway. I don't like how much people are baking in that the defense is just going to stay good.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. And the way the AFC is so stacked too.
Yeah.
If they're going to be competitive, that defense is going to have to be historically good, and they're just not.
Well, and it's
even if they're good, they're not going to be that good.
Well, and people are like, oh well, the continuity of keeping their defensive coordinator and Mayo and everything. Now the coach, I'm like,
I don't buy into that.
But we also know who actually was the structure behind the defense. Was obviously Belichick, right? So
was still Belichick,
it doesn't mean that Mayo can't be really good, that it won't work out. But I'm just saying it's weird to bake it in and just be like, well, the defense will just continue to be good because it was good with Gerard Mayo as the defensive coordinator. Oh yeah, but also the head coach is an all-time defensive coach who was the one who's really designing it.
He won multiple Super Bowls
Yeah.
as a defensive coordinator in the 90s.
Exactly. It doesn't mean that Mayo didn't do a good job of running it, but he was doing a good job of running Belichick's defense, really.
Right.
So,
and it's like way different being a head coach and also have to still have to pay attention to the defense rather than just going, I just need to focus on mastering Belichick's defense.
So much.
Whole different ballgame now.
Yeah.
And what stood out to me when it was announced, I saw it yesterday and immediately before I made my picks, I made a note of that. The Patriots picked Jacoby Brissett to now start in week 1, which means it almost feels like they're accepting this as this is going to be a lost developmental year for Drake May.
Yeah.
We're already accepting we're not going to compete.
Yeah.
So they're just not going to be very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me.
No, most definitely. Then we have Jags at the Dolphins.
I picked the Dolphins.
I picked the Jags.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of went back and forth on that one.
Well,
because I was like, Battle of Florida, it's hot.
Yeah,
both teams are used to playing in hot weather.
Yeah.
But overall, I gave the edge to Miami because they're at home. If it were flip flopped and it was Jacksonville at home, I probably would give it to Jacksonville.
Sure. Yeah. And I just think, I mean, we'll get into everything, but I do think overall people are kind of low on the Jags because of how their season ended. But there were a lot of reasons for that. So I think maybe the Jags come out and people go, oh, okay.
Right.
So, because people forgot.
But I mean, we thought that last year when they started, 7-2, like, oh man, the Jags.
Yeah, they were in line at one point. They were in line for the 1 seed, and then Lawrence
for the 1 seed. Yeah,
Lawrence got hurt, and they had other stuff happen. So
right, and I know like narratives don't carry over season to season, but I did think about that stuff too. So, anyways,
and then we have the Texans at the Colts.
Took the Texans.
I took the Colts.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, in that one. So
right.
I just think Colts are at home. Anthony Richardson.
First game of the season,
can kind of be, you know, and I mean their coaching staff's great. I mean, obviously the Texans have a good coaching staff too, but the Colts.
We don't have to get like too in depth, like game to game. We can do that as we do the divisions.
Yeah. And then we've got Raiders at Chargers. Chargers.
Chargers. Yeah. Herbert, Harbaugh, first game at home as head coach. I don't think Harbaugh's losing that game.
Yeah, I think they're just going to come out. They're going to be solid. They're going to know what they're doing.
Plus, let's be real, they're playing the Raiders.
Yeah.
The only thing that might give them issues is the Raiders' pass rush. And that's really it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, they've been working on that offensive line too. So
the Chargers have, they spent a lot of money on that.
They're going to run it a lot. So
yeah. So that's why I took them. All that combined, Harbaugh, Chargers.
And let's see. So AFC versus NFC. We have Tennessee at the Bears. Titans at Bears.
I took the Bears.
Me too. Yeah.
I think Tennessee will. We'll get to that later, but I think Tennessee will be frisky. But again, it's one of those like new coach, rookie quarterback, opening at home. I think the Bears take it.
Yeah, and they've looked. I mean, I've been watching the Hard Knocks too, and
apparently it's really good. The Bears Hard Knocks.
It is. It's very good. So I don't know. You can't go by those too much, but it's just like, but Caleb Williams looks and sounds exactly what you want. So
yeah, so that's good.
It's very confidence inducing there. And then we have the Steelers at the Ravens.
I think you mean Steelers Falcons.
Steelers, at the Falcons. I saw a bird. It's like it's a bird.
It's a bird. The Ravens play 2 games in week 1. Wow, never heard of that before. That's
interesting. Well, because they're playing on Thursday, so then they're, they get to,
Oh, right.
Short week.
I took the Falcons.
I took the Steelers, but it's,
I wanted to take the Steelers in that. I don't know. Again, it's like one of those things where it's like week 1 is so weird and it's so unpredictable. But
it is.
Week 1, a lot of the times, like if it's like even a remotely competent team, and I think the Falcons will be way more competent than they've been the last 3 years. Like I'm gonna take the home team most of the time.
Yeah,
I just am. Like, there's just something about week one, home crowd, everybody's pumped, new hope, new life. I don't know. That's why I went back and forth multiple times, but I was just also it's just like it's Russell Wilson in his third team in 3 years or 4 years, whatever.
I think it's either way, but here's where I landed. One, Falcons defense, it's fine. It's probably going to be fine. Yeah. So it's not going to be a huge challenge on the offensive side. We still don't really know if it's going to take Cousins a little bit to feel comfortable. And the Steelers have a really good pass rush, very good defense.
That they do. So, that defense is going to be good.
So that's kind of why my coin flip went the other way, because I was just like, I think that the Steelers will play solid enough to hold off
the
Falcons.
That's fair.
So,
and we also have to remember the Falcons will falcon at some point.
Yeah, they do like to do that. So,
and just like that was my only going back real quick. That was my only slight stop at the Chargers Raiders of going, but can the Chargers still charger with Harbaugh? That's possible.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? I mean, Staley tried to break it and failed miserably. So
yeah, he did.
It seemed like he was on track though that first year.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, and then
he's the 49ers assistant head coach.
An assistant. Yeah.
An assistant. Yeah. Anyways, I have AFC, NFC. I have Buffalo trouncing the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think Buffalo. I don't know if it's going to be trouncing because I think Buffalo will score a lot of points, but because the Cardinals' defense is not good. But their offense, I think, is going to be pretty solid too. And
we'll talk about that once we get through. Yeah, we get through that. But because I have some thoughts, I have some thoughts on that.
But I do have the Bills, and then we've got Broncos at Seahawks.
Coin flip. I took the Seahawks for the same reason I took the Falcons. Week one at home.
Sure.
Even though Gino's already a little bit banged up, week one at home, new coach. You're gonna want to put yourself in there with the hometown fans. I think the Seahawks take it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I went with the Broncos because I think it's going to be one of those oh, look, Bo Nix is it.
See, I kind of went the opposite of with the Seattle fans going, here's a rookie quarterback playing his first ever game in our house.
Sure.
They're going to be loud as hell.
Could be too. Yep. No. Well, and he went to Oregon, so most of the people are going to hate him.
Ooh, yeah, right. In Washington State. Yeah. So, they're not going to like that guy.
We'll see there. All right. Then we got Cowboys at Browns.
Took the Browns.
I took the Browns. You, yeah. Taking them Browns.
That was another coin flip game for me.
Yeah.
That Browns defense is still just really good. I mean, I full on admit we could both be easily wrong, and Dallas could come in there and do their thing and wipe the floor, but I just don't see it happening.
It's just hard because their defense is usually so good for Cleveland.
That's where I that's where I stopped and went, man, I don't know. I think Cleveland's defense is good enough, and their offense is good enough to do enough against Dallas's defense to squeak out some weird 20-17 win.
Exactly. So I went that way too. It's you could have told me, you could say, oh no, the Cowboys won, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And vice versa. Hey, the Browns ended up, their defense stood tall and ended up squeaking out 20-17. Okay, it makes sense.
And then we've got the Monday night game is the Jets at the 49ers. I don't know if you've heard of them. The 49ers.
No.
Well, that's fine.
No. I hear they're solid though.
Yeah, they're all right. So I do have the Niners winning their home opener.
I do as well. Yeah, I do as well. There was one thing Simmons and Sal talked about was older quarterbacks coming off major surgeries and and not only that, you're playing a really good pass rush defense already and a really good defense already. That's a tall task to beat them coming off in the first place, but coming off a major injury, you haven't seen any legitimate NFL action in over a year.
Yeah.
And you're on the road 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, it's a little tough. It feels tough. And plus, I think Shanahan tends to do well against his assistants.
He does. Yeah.
So I think he has he's one of those coaches that tends to have an understanding of like what they do and what they like to do. I feel
right.
like.
I mean, minus the NFC Championship game, I think there's a reason he keeps beating McVay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and even in that game, I'm just like, if that pick wasn't dropped, then
yeah, right. Then that game's over. Yeah.
So I'm trusting in that too, where he's going to be able to be on top of Salah and kind of like, even if it's still a slog, it may not be an easy win, but.
And a plus right now for the 49ers is that Hassan Reddick is still holding out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is at this point less or barely a week and a half away. He may not even play Monday night.
Yeah.
If he's still holding out. So if he's out, that defense loses one of their best defensive players.
Yeah.
So
if the 49ers still have
I kept that in mind.
If the 49ers still have Trent Williams out, though.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Hey, we got Ayuk, though, finally.
Yeah, I think they'll get the Trent Williams thing figured out.
I think they will.
Apparently, the bigger thing with that is the guarantees, because he doesn't have guarantees left.
I saw that yesterday and was like, just throw him a bone and give him some guaranteed money.
Since he's an offensive lineman, he's been in the system a while. That's not one where you're as worried about, like he'll be able to jump in much easier than
right
than a jumping into like a pass rusher,
right? A complicated offensive scheme of running routes and all that shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then let's see, just the NFC games. So we got Green Bay at the Eagles, Packers at Eagles.
Coin flipped it. I took the Eagles.
I took the Eagles too, but that's close.
It was tough. I clicked Green Bay and Philly probably a good 3 or 4 times each.
I was
like, wait, no, but if this happens or that happens, and then I went, it's a coin flip, dude. Just pick one.
Exactly. You don't know. So I think, So I kind of, at that point, it's like, well, usually when it's like that, you just kind of go, home team, maybe?
Home team, quote unquote, because they're in Brazil.
I know it's true, but you're just like,
I even thought about because this one for me was like, but which team has more to prove? And then I went back and went, well, both teams have a lot to prove. The way Philly ended the season, along with Green Bay, let's be real, probably should have beaten the 49ers in the divisional round. So they still have a lot to prove. Like, can they keep it going? Is Jordan Love the real deal? He somehow is now the highest paid quarterback in history per annual average, which is nuts to me.
Yeah, I know.
After one solid 10-game stretch where he threw a really stupid interception at the end of the year.
I know, but...
Anyways, all that aside, I was like, both these teams have a lot to prove. I'm going to take the Eagles.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I went to. I think they just have a little bit more. I think they're going to come out with a little more fire.
Yeah, and the Packers are still really young, and the Eagles are fairly young too, but that's a group that's been together for a while. So, and that also helped with me being like, I'll give the slight edge to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Slightest of slight edges.
Slight edge, yeah, just a slight edge. Then we've got Panthers at Saints. That's probably the game of the week. I think everybody's
absolutely. That should be the 4:25 Fox game.
Excited. America's game of the week.
I took the Saints, though.
I took the Saints.
Because I think the Saints will be less terrible than the Panthers.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, I don't know if I'm too low on the Panthers. That was one of the ones after we did all the predictions. Where it's like, am I too low? I don't know. Because I'm like, I don't know. Because it's just, you just don't know what can happen. All right. Well, at least you feel that way. Because I'm like, I don't know. Maybe not like they'll be like a playoff team, but just like, maybe I'm too low. I don't know. But anyway.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. So Vikings at Giants. I took Vikings.
I took the Giants.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Again, I'm sorry, but I believe in Danny Dimes just a tad more than Sam Darnold.
I believe in
at least Danny Dimes has survived New York. Sam Darnold did not.
I believe in the Vikings infrastructure than I believe in the Giants.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
I think
the Giants do not have Saquon anymore. So I think
O'Connell is going to put Darnold in the best possible spot. Doesn't mean he'll always be great, but I think against a team like a Giants, it's going to be fine.
That's fair. That's
and
fair.
also, and here's the thing of just like, well, what about when Darnold makes those bad decisions he makes? I'm like, well, more than likely, though, his bad decisions are going to be tossing it up to Justin Jefferson. So
Right.
Look at
And also, even if he makes bad decisions, have you seen Daniel Jones play?
Well, that's for this game, but I just mean on like a yearly basis. People are like, "Well, Darnold."
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Decision making, yeah. But if your horrible decision making includes the ball going to Jefferson, sometimes he's just gonna get it anyway.
Yeah,
right.
right.
That was a terrible idea. Triple coverage. How the hell did Justin Jefferson be the one to come down with the ball? So he's gonna.
Because it's Justin Jefferson.
So even though some of those will probably still turn into picks, it's still going to be like, but some of those that should have been picks will probably just turn somehow into catches and touchdowns because it's Justin Jefferson.
Right, first downs, touchdowns, yeah.
So
that's fair.
It's just something to keep in mind, I think. Then we have the Commanders at the Bucks. I picked the Bucks.
I did too.
Yeah.
Washington's defense was historically bad. I heard a stat today. They gave up 35 passing touchdowns last season.
Wow. Okay.
And like the Bucks still have Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, like, who are good enough to like take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So, and they're at home.
Yep.
So for me, easy pick.
Yeah.
Buccaneers.
Yeah. And then we have Rams at Lions.
That's gonna be a great game, but I took the Lions.
I took the Rams.
Really?
Yeah. It was tough, though.
You know what? I did go back and forth a little bit.
I think that they're basically going to do what the Lions did to the Chiefs last year. I think it's going to be.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like that
that's
sort
fair.
of a thing. And then also, I mean, that's another revenge game, sort of a scenario thing.
Going right back into Detroit. That was the last game you played last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think McVay's going to be pretty focused on it. I mean, but again, that's another coin flip game. So it's just like.
Yeah, and that was where I partially went. That's why I partially went with Detroit.
Yeah,
as well. Whereas the Rams will see it as a revenge game, but that could be Dan Campbell and Detroit going, no, we're better than you. Let us prove it to you again.
Exactly.
That's why I ultimately took the Lions. Also, I just think the Lions are really good.
I mean, I'll talk more about them when we get to our NFC stuff. So
yeah. Let's leave.
All right, so that's where we were for week 1. If you hate our picks, oh well. And
will we be wrong about half of them? Probably. Because week 1 is a total crapshoot.
That is true. You do get weird ones, and then people go, "Oh, is this team for real?" And it's like, no,
they are
not. They're not actually for real.
No,
I'm sorry. And even sometimes it's a bad team playing a bad team, but they like wipe. Like if the Vikings come out and just like wipe the floor with the Giants, people are gonna be like, "Oh, maybe we were all wrong about the Vikings," and it's like, or the Giants are also terrible. And they just came in not prepared.
But I don't know why. I don't know why this memory always has stuck in my brain, but I think it's like the ultimate, for me at least, it's always been one of those ultimate, are they good? But they just kind of got lucky the first 2 weeks and then they just completely shit the bed. But I remember when Chris Collinsworth was still on Fox and the Bengals weirdly started out 2-0.
Right.
Under like a bad quarterback, and like, is Cincinnati good? Oh no, they went 3-14 or 3-13. Never mind.
Yeah,
they started 2-0 and then went 1-13 after that. They just kind of got lucky those first 2 games.
Oops.
And that's what week 1 to me is that like you can get an upset. I mean, even look at the Chiefs last year. People going, the Chiefs lost to the Lions at home coming off the Super Bowl. Yeah. What happened?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The first week, who fucking knows?
Things happen.
Things happen in especially week 1. Things happen.
You're welcome to everybody who got to see my audio recording for a second as I was making sure everything was still recording.
Oh yeah, hold on. I need to do that too. Yeah, we're still recording. All right.
Yeah, it's always just good to double check because we don't have a producer, folks. So you gotta really
we don't.
Like and subscribe, and
we don't have a nephew Kyle like Bill Simmons.
Exactly, so we can get some ads in here. Our nephew's still too young for that, so
yeah, he is. Maybe we should get him involved.
Yeah. All right, so let's just get into the AFC then.
Let's AFC East.
Start with AFC
how do you want to do it?
Sure, yeah. Let's
you
just
want to do AFC East.
Let's just do it. Let's just do it that way. That's my That's what I
like going east to west,
Yeah.
Going that way? I have the Bills winning the AFC East.
I have
again.
I have the Jets winning the AFC East.
I wanted to pick them. I wanted to pick them so bad, but it's like I even saw, like, for anybody who's probably obsessed with NFL content as much as I am, the Hassan Reddick thing is already causing divides, and then there was somebody on the Jets even as late as last night who was like, Rodgers is being more selfish than he's ever been in his entire life. So I just thought, that's a great recipe for disaster. Your best defensive player is holding out, and your franchise quarterback that you know you're only going to have for a few years, sure, is being a selfish prick. That's not great.
Man, I don't feel good about it. I'm going to be honest.
Okay, good.
I'm not happy about it. Well, one I will say, God, just because if there's any Jets fans listening, they're going to be like, no, Sauce Gardner's the best defensive player on our team. But
sorry, maybe not Hassan Reddick, but one of your best.
Well, somebody who you're coming in, who you brought in to replace a pass rusher that you lost, let go as well. And to be a next level guy for you. But yes, so I get it. On the Rodgers thing, I think his level of selfishness can work for a year. So
I can see that.
I'm wondering, it's just like Hackett, probably not a very good coach. Rodgers basically taking control of the offense, being that guy. And I can't get over that this team won 7 games with Zach.
That's true.
That they had.
Right.
And I think it's so crazy how much people rip on Saleh of like, oh, he's probably not that good of a coach. I'm like, I don't know how he got him to the amount of wins that they have. Like, it doesn't make sense.
That's a good point.
I'm not,
that's a good point.
So I'm just like, I don't know. I still don't feel great because, like, the stuff you're saying is true. And it's the Jets.
But what you're saying is also true because Zach Wilson is now the 3rd string quarterback on the Broncos behind a rookie quarterback in Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah.
God's sake.
So, yeah.
Like, that guy couldn't beat out a rookie and Jarrett Stidham. And that guy got you to 7 wins somehow?
Yeah, like, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know how that happened. And so I just think competent play on the quarterback side can be a huge bust.
I can see that.
If Rodgers is good, he doesn't have to be great, but if he's just good, if he's top, I don't know, like top 15.
I was going to say, he has to be top 15. I think they can make it.
Then they could have a really good year. And I think Saleh's good enough to figure out if Hassan Reddick's not playing, I think he's good enough to figure out what to do.
That's fair. So, one of the reasons I took the Bills was because Stephon Diggs is not there. I think.
So what record did you have?
Honestly, I think he. What's that?
What was the record?
For the Bills. Hold on. What did I have in that? Hold on. Let me bring up that tab real quick.
Okay, I want to write down what yours are because I'm going to throw up a graphic for everybody.
That'd be great.
For you all, folks. I'm going to create a graphic.
And I didn't have them winning by much. The Jets I had at 9-8, and the Bills I had at 11-6.
Okay, so
like they're not that far behind. It's just I think Diggs ended up being too much of a cancer on that team because he wanted it to be all about him.
Sure.
And sometimes I think, like, even I've watched a lot of Bills games over the last couple of years. It's like, I always felt like there were times where Allen was forcing the ball to Diggs because he didn't want to hear Diggs' mouth on the sideline about how he needs to get him the ball.
It happens, definitely.
So that's where I feel like it'll be a little bit of a weight off Allen's shoulders. Where he can, because I feel like Allen's at his best when he just spreads the ball around. Because that year they made it to the AFC Championship game, like Diggs felt like he had a good year, but the ball was just spread around, and then Allen did enough with his legs too. I think that'll be just a huge lift for them emotionally.
So, I think there's a lot of negativity going towards the Bills, and I'm like, that might actually help them. A little bit.
I think it might.
But I have them. I've got look. So here's why I'm feeling good about my Jets pick. All right, I have them at 13-4, and I have the Bills at 12-5.
You have the Jets at 13-4?
Yeah, exactly. That's what happened.
How?
Folks. That's what happened. there may be something wrong with me. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna go to a doctor. I
mean, I know people have surprise picks at the beginning of the year, but
it's just I went through the.
Are
games.
You trying to give people a heart attack?
I went through the games, and that's what happened. When I went through them, that's how I felt, and then I was like, well, crap. Now I'm a Jets person. What the hell happened to me?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call the American Psychiatric Association. Yo, my brother is insane.
Yeah. So I had the Bills still having a great year at 12-5. So then I have the Dolphins. Third.
I have the Dolphins at 9-8.
I have them at 8-9. So I just flip flop.
Oh,
yeah, so,
okay.
Yeah, we're pretty much.
And
same.
I have the Patriots at I believe 4-13. 3-14.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to be very good.
I have them at 1-16.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I just couldn't get there. I looking at these games, and I'm like, their offensive line is bad. They're playing Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
I don't think their defense is going to be as good as it was last year, especially now that they traded Judon away, too.
Right.
Not that Judon was, like, transformative at this point, but still, like, very good player. I just, like...
So now that we're talking about the Patriots, I want to touch on this real quick because this was insane. Simmons and Sal talked about it.
Yeah.
Or rather, Simmons did. Apparently, the Giants offered their first, second, and third picks of this past draft, and then their first, second, and third for next year to move up so they could draft Drake May, and the Patriots said no.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? And like Simmons rightfully was like, Drake May better be fucking good.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he's looked good.
He's looked good, but holy crap, because if the Giants continue to be this bad, like, dude, you could have had top 10 picks in rounds 1, 2, and 3 2 years in a row.
Well, see, but the thing is, if May is that good, they wouldn't have those picks are not going to be that good. So, I mean, that's the thing.
I know. I like that's where the Patriots are like really betting on Drake May. Yeah. Like, no, we think we got our guy.
And if he's the guy, it solves so many problems. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like there's not really a good enough draft haul to overcome I would say maybe top 10 quarterback. Let's say top 10.
No, there's not. No, there's really not.
And the only like options would be maybe if you're like, oh, you're like right at the end of your career. So even though you're still top 10, this sets us up for when you're gone. You know, if you're only going to be playing for another couple of years or something. You know, but even then you're probably not going to get that kind of a haul. I don't remember now what Green Bay got for Rodgers, but
it's pretty good.
But
that was still crazy when I heard that. I was like, holy crap on a cracker.
But that's what I mean. Like if you're a Patriots fan, to me, that's very confidence inducing. I'm like, that's what somebody was willing to give up. Like that's how good they thought Drake May was too.
Right.
And
yeah,
that was also we're like, no, we know he's good. So we're not going to do it.
That's why we're saying no, like we want this guy.
Exactly. So I do think though, I think it's possible that I'm just not I kind of agree with, I think it was Nora Princiati was talking about it, where she's concerned that they kept too much of the Belichick, not infrastructure necessarily, but of too many people connected, and maybe they needed a little bit more turnover.
I would honestly agree with that. I think for the Patriots to move on, I think it would just be better if they just had like a complete reset.
Yeah,
get all that Belichick stuff out of there.
Yeah, and right now,
not all of it necessarily,
no, not all of it. But I just think I haven't really liked how Mayo's sort of handled stuff over the training camp through preseason. So I'm not. That's why I went 1-16 because I don't have a lot of confidence in their setup.
Yeah, that's fair.
And obviously their roster is not great either. But
and like we mentioned when we were just going through week 1, it's just like.
Yeah.
What do they have?
Mm-hmm.
And also look at the competition of the AFC. Like it's just And like I said earlier, like you're already admitting that this is kind of a lost year by giving the starting job to Jacoby Brissett.
You definitely are. All right, cool. So there's our AFC East. I mean, we're not crazy different on positioning, but records are
Records are.
We were like just
well, the Jets and Bills. Well, the Bills we have pretty much the same. You have them at 12-5.
Oh, that's right. You have
I got them at 11-6.
Right. That's one. Yeah.
It's the Jets where you're going psychopath.
Yeah, that's where I am, baby.
All right. All right. Well, I will say one last thing on the Jets is like with that Rodgers stuff. Like it feels like those last couple years in Green Bay where they were like teetering between 8 to 10 wins because he was that much of a distraction.
Yeah,
that's what bothers me.
Yeah. All right. So you want to go to the North next?
Yeah, let's go. So let's go North because
yeah. Let's do it. All right. So let's start bottom on North.
I have the Bengals at 9-8.
Okay. All right.
I have concern with the Bengals because of Joe Burrow's health.
It's very
that
fair.
Dude's had major ACL surgery and wrist surgery already, and he's not even 27.
Very fair.
So it's like that dude is one more major injury away from him retiring even earlier than Andrew Luck retired.
I mean, it's very fair. Very fair. I have the Bengals at 12-5. Because I'm going with that he's going to be okay, basically.
Right.
Maybe he misses a game or two, but like.
Well, and there was when I was picking Bengals games too, it was just like there was somewhere where I just thought, man, if Joe Burrow, even if he's playing, if he's not healthy, they're going to lose this game. But if he is healthy, God, the Bengals could be like 13-4.
Yeah.
And so freaking good.
So my bottom, and this tells you how I looked at. I mean, so you have the bottom being still a winning record. So do I.
Right.
I have the Browns at 11-6.
Wow.
Yeah. This is why I said I don't feel good. All right.
Right. You did text me right before being like, I feel like I had wild picks.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So it's a good thing. This is not my day job. I don't know, but like,
good thing we just do this as like for fun.
Yeah, because I that's what I had. Bottom Browns 11-6, which is they did great, but sorry. That's how I had the North shaking
You won
out.
11 games, but you're out.
All right, so who's your third team then?
I believe I had the Browns at 10-7. Hold on, let me bring that up real quick. No, I have the Browns third at 11-6.
Okay,
I have them and this
record.
I have the same record. They're just in third. I just think the Bengals would be like their injury, potential Joe Burrow.
I basically just went like I'm just going to assume he's healthy for most of the year.
That's fair.
So that's how I end up with 12-5, because maybe he misses a couple of games, but
right.
So and that makes sense because if you're baking in some more injury stuff, then you're like 9-8, totally very possible as well.
That's what I was banking on over the last 2 years or 3. 2 out of 3 years is like that dude gets hurt. They're still a really good team.
Yeah,
they're gonna cap out at 9 wins.
So on my third was the Steelers, also at 11-6. So I had them.
I had them. They're in second at 11-6 for me because they have the tiebreaker over the Browns.
This is funny, but it's really not that crazy.
It's really not.
Crazy.
The NFC or the AFC North is just that good.
I think. I think the NFC North's going to be pretty solid this year, but the AFC North 1 through 4.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Like if they're in almost any other division, those are number 1 teams almost without question.
Yeah. I think right. All 4 of those teams could fight for top of the division in the
NFC North.
Division.
Absolutely. 100%.
So yeah.
I have the Ravens at 12-5.
I have the Ravens at 13-4. So
okay. And there was again a couple coin toss games. One of them being the Chiefs Ravens, where I had them losing to the Chiefs, and that was That was where I kept going back and forth of like, they're either 12-5 or 13-4. Because I felt pretty good with every other game that I had them winning and losing. Yeah. It was really just that Chiefs game that I kept going back and forth.
Do you know what you had their division record being? Because I had them at 4-2 in their division.
I believe I had them at the same. Okay. Yeah, 4-2. Yeah.
So there was probably just
I think it's very possible that they sweep the Bengals and like always pretty much split with the Browns and Steelers.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's
division, pretty much where I have them.
Yeah, I mean, the only one who I had having a losing division record were the Browns at 2-4, and I had the Bengals and Steelers each at 3-3.
And that's so funny. I have the Bengals and Browns at 3-3, or sorry, Steelers and Browns at 3-3, and the Bengals at 2-4.
Okay, yeah. See, and that's kind of where our flip probably, it's kind of happening.
Yeah, that's exactly where that happened.
All right, yeah, I think, that's kind of crazy, but I mean, it does seem like if all four teams, and we're both predicting this, that all four teams have a winning record.
Yeah,
which is insane. Insane. So,
and if health things go a certain way, like if health things go a certain way, like at least me personally, if the Bengals stay extremely healthy and the Ravens have some more really shitty injuries happen, could they flip flop and the Ravens end up 9-8 and the Bengals 12-5? 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But Lamar has a better health history than Joe Burrow does. So.
Yeah, it's true. Who knows, man? Who knows? So then we've got the South, AFC South.
Hooray. Everyone's favorite division.
Start bottom again. I think bottom.
Yeah, I have the Titans at the bottom.
Yeah, what do you have them at?
I have them at 6-11, like competitive.
Oh. Yeah,
and they were one of those teams. So I mentioned it. I alluded to this when we were going through week one. The Titans I have in 4 coin flip games where I have them losing them all.
Yeah.
So if they win them, because I think that defense is still going to be really stingy. It's all based on like if Will Levis is even like average to slightly above average, I think they can win at least 2 of those coin flip games.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 or all of them. And end up being like a fringe playoff team.
Interesting.
I haven't seen enough out of Levis to give him that benefit of the doubt. And Derrick Henry's gone.
Yeah.
And those are even if Henry was having a down year, obviously he's coming into the twilight of his career. Mm-hmm. That's still a big piece to lose. And for a young quarterback to lose that kind of workhorse running back and also for me, like the Texans and Jaguars are still really good, and the Colts will be formidable as well.
Yeah, so I was lower on the Titans. I thought I was going to be higher, but I ended up with only 3-14. But
wow,
and here's probably why I had them going 0-6 in the division. So basically, I just have that the division beat up on the Titans, it looks like.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until I was really looking at it now. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's probably why
what do I have?
3-14 is
I have them 2-4 in the division.
Okay.
I think I had them hold on, I can actually look at it real quick.
But that's the thing. Like if I had them just going 2-4, now suddenly, they're what, 5-12, so like I'm actually much closer to where you are, even if I did that. So I just think, it's tough because like I said, I thought I was going to be higher on it, and it could be that maybe they are competitive in a lot of these games, and just in my brain, I just ended up not.
Oh, that's
them,
right. Okay, that's right. Got it.
And it's just like one of those things maybe they're not terrible, but they just lose a lot of these closer games. I don't know.
I have them splitting with the Jags and Colts and being swept by the Texans.
Yeah. So it was, that was a surprise to me. That was one of the ones I was surprised I was as low on their record because
everybody was talking about how terrible they were, but like when you're looking at especially their defensive roster, they're actually really solid.
Yeah, and I think they made I mean, obviously we don't know, but I think they made a good coaching hire.
Yeah, that too.
So I'm interested to see that. What do you have for third? Well, I guess maybe I'll say third because you said my third is the Colts at 9-8.
I believe I have the Colts third as well, and I think I have them at 8-9 though.
Okay, so we're at the.
Yeah, we're pretty much right there. Yeah, 8-9. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, Anthony Richardson.
At that point, when you're that close, we're splitting on coin flip games.
Yeah, and this could be one of those things where Anthony Richardson comes in as just a force of nature, and then they're suddenly like one of those way better teams where they're like
right. And I thought about that too when I was picking these games
because they have a great coaching staff, and
they do. Yeah. And Richardson was playing pretty well before he went down. So who knows? Yeah. Again, for me, it was one of those things like even if he plays well, he's still coming off major surgery. Texans and Jaguars are still good.
It's too unknown. Yeah, it was just too unknown.
Right, and the AFC itself, again, is still stacked to no end.
Yeah. So it was tough. It was tough.
It was just tough to get them to 9, even 10.
So,
9 wins, let alone 10 or 11.
So I actually had second. I'm guessing it's different than yours. I had the Texans second at 9-8 as well.
You had them at 9-8?
9 and
wow,
8.
That's
okay. So here's my thing.
I have them at
Let me say my thing. Okay, so let me talk. So here's why. Here's what I've been thinking. This isn't that. This is sort of the idea that has gained a lot of traction over the past few years of the progress isn't linear. I think that the Texans got a little lucky last year. Not that they weren't good, but like they got a little lucky last year, especially with what happened with the Jags and things like that. They were 10-7, so it's not like they blew things off the water. So this isn't even really much of a step back. You're talking about a game difference. And
that's true.
I think it's too. It feels like they're too assumed to just be even better, and I think there's a possibility that they're going to have a first place schedule because they won their division. So
that's true.
I just think they're going to have some harder games, some harder times, and they're still going to not be bad. They're still going to be good, but just it's a little bit of a harder road, and I just think it's just not going to work out the way that everybody's just assuming it's going to work out.
That's 100% fair. Because I'm now looking at their schedule right now, and it's a little bit tougher than I thought.
Yeah,
when I was first picking it, but they also have some like super, easy games in there. That's what's crazy.
I know. So it's just like that's just kind of where I am on the Texans. I think they're still gonna look good. I don't think it's gonna.
Well,
be like,
we're definitely different there.
It was a fluke year. I don't think it's gonna be that. So, but So your third place team is, I'm guessing.
Well, you were crazy with the Jets. I have the Texans at 13-4.
13-4, yeah.
13-4.
But
I have them. Sorry. I just want to. I have them losing to Green Bay at Green Bay, Dallas at Dallas, Jacksonville and Jacksonville, and Kansas City at Kansas City. I have them beating Baltimore at home.
Interesting.
Yeah. So basically, like, I think that's how I thought about it. It was like their 4 losses are really tough places to win.
Yeah,
especially when Cowboys, Chiefs, Jacksonville still good. Those are tough places to win.
Sure. What did you have the Jaguars at?
I believe I had them at 9-8.
9-8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, again,
they have a couple of other. Just like the Colts, they have a couple coin flip games. Wouldn't be surprised if they ended up going 11-6.
I had the Jags winning the division at 10-7, so it's not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're not that far off.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I just think if they can hold it together this year versus what they did last year, I think people are lower on the Jags than what they should be, and I think people are like you, a little slightly too high on the Texans. There.
I'm sorry. I also just really like CJ Stroud.
I think it's exciting. Yeah, he's great. And I'm not even saying he's going to have a bad year. I'm not saying it was like a fluke or anything like that. I think he's going to have a good year. I just think that sometimes this happens. You get.
Right.
Sometimes you just get really excited, get really thrown in about a team because of how they looked. But part of the way that they got into the playoffs last year was that the Jags collapsed.
Completely imploded upon themselves. Like, correct.
Maybe we need to be a little
because let's also not forget that the Ravens kicked the living shit out of them in the playoffs.
I know. All right.
Although I have them beating the Ravens now, but it's also at home. It's not the playoffs.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud and the whole staff has that experience now, so I think it'll be a little bit different.
And then finally the AFC West here.
I have the Raiders at 15-2. No, that's a joke.
Let's say bottom, which I'm assuming you have Raiders bottom. Am I correct on that?
I believe that is correct, Amundo. No, actually. Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
My AFC West is a little bit weird. I have the Broncos at 7-10.
Oh, okay. See,
I think Bo Nix will be solid, but
wow.
Like we talked about earlier, well, we hinted at. Huh?
That means you're way higher on the Raiders than I am.
I'm a little bit higher on the Raiders. Yeah, I am.
Why is that?
there's something about Antonio Pierce, man. He got something out of that team that even what was his face a few years ago after Gruden got fired? What was it, Brian Callahan?
Yeah.
Got something out of that team that they like absolutely needed and that they responded to in a really positive way. And Aiden O'Connell, not great, but he went 5-5 as a starter. And their pass rush is actually beefed up.
Have they named a starter, the Raiders?
It's going to be Gardner.
It is going to be Gardner. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, it is going to be Gardner. Okay.
But maybe
like
not. Like
Aiden O'Connell went 5-5. Even this is after Josh McDaniels was fired and all of that. So
yeah.
I'm not as down on them as everybody else is. And also, like, they were dealing with that Jimmy G shit, too. And, like, he's gone now. Like, you now have a clear Gardner's our number one. He's proved he can be effective in short stints. And maybe they end up dual quarterbacking it, which we know doesn't work out for the most part. But
okay.
But it works out. I think it can work out enough to where they can pull out 9 games out of their ass.
So here's where I went because
what did you have the Raiders at? That's what I want.
I think I had them at 3-14.
Whoa.
Because my thought is the other way, and it's not that I don't like Antonio Pierce. I'm always wary of the guy came in and got us new energy. I'm like, well, yeah, Josh McDaniels' energy was on the worst. It was in lava. Right. Like, there's no way out. It's just Pompeii. I'm being covered by molten lava. And you'll find me screaming. You'll find my body cast screaming in ash. That's how bad his energy was. And I do think that energy was great. I don't think that carries over. I think that was something that gave them that boost for the year. And I think they should have done a real coaching search. I get why they didn't, because so many of the players, they hated Josh McDaniels so much and they loved Antonio Pierce so much. I get it, but I don't know if that's going to carry over. It feels a little bit like a Mike Singletary kind of a thing.
Which we as 49ers fans know all too well.
And so I just don't know if they're going to have the X's and O's to do it. And they may be competitive, because I think they'll probably play hard, but I just don't think it's going to work out, is kind of where I landed on it. So they ended up bad.
They did lose Josh Jacobs. Yeah. That hurts.
I will say, so this is my other reason why I feel so crazy about my picks for this season, is I don't have a lot of mid. I have a lot of just teams with winning records and teams with extreme losing records, and I'm like, that's usually not going to happen. So I feel like I really messed something up.
And I did that too. Like at one point, I had the Patriots at, even though they ended at 3-14, I had them at 1-10 or something. I was like, wait, really?
Yeah.
And then I went back through and went, I don't really see them winning a lot of these games. Like, this is so bizarre. Yeah. There's not a lot of, like you just said, there's not a lot of mid teams, but I think the Raiders are a mid team.
Yeah. And then, and so here's kind of the difference, because then I have third are the Broncos at 10-7.
Wow.
Because I think that we forget that they didn't actually have a terrible year. Their record.
No, they did not. They did go 8-9 with Russell Wilson as their quarterback.
Yeah, doing what he was doing. Him and Sean Payton obviously just could not connect. I don't think Bo Nix.
I would say they borderline hated each other.
I don't think Bo Nix is necessarily amazing, but I think he's coachable, and I think he's going to do what Sean Payton wants him to do. And I think that gets them 2 more wins than what they had last year.
And I think like Sean Payton's one of those coaches too that even for a player whose ceiling is like slightly above average, I think he can get the best out of that slightly above average. And like you just said, maybe get a win or 2 out of them. That's fair. I can see that.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I went. It's like we feel like the Broncos were somehow awful. And I think it's still like, it was that Miami game, where they just got the 70 points on them. It's just
it was like video game numbers.
It's like you can't forget it. So everybody's just like, well, the Broncos were atrocious last year. I'm like, they were atrocious in that game, yes.
Right.
But actually, their year wasn't that terrible.
And not to keep bringing it up, but that was also something that Simmons mentioned in their podcast was like, it feels like the Broncos were 3-14, but they were weirdly solid somehow.
Because Sean Payton's still a good coach.
He's still a good coach.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of where I got. So you had, I'm assuming you had the Raiders third then.
I did. Yeah, I had the Chargers at 10-7. I believe.
What was the Raiders' record? You never told me their record.
9-8.
9-8. Okay.
9-8, and I do have the Chargers at 10-7, and the Chiefs at 12-5.
So I have the Chargers also at 10-7.
And I think that's fair. Like they lost Mike Williams, even though he had injury history, but like I don't think you can discount Jim Harbaugh coming in.
Yeah,
because you're talking about you just mentioned Mike Singletary a minute ago. Jim Harbaugh came in and took that same freaking roster that Mike Singletary had and turned them from a 7-8 win team into 13 wins and a Kyle Williams fumble away from the freaking Super Bowl.
So, yeah, I think Harbaugh comes in. He doesn't make just one side of the ball better. He makes the team better.
Yes.
He just makes everything becomes more solid. Everything... The fundamentals, everything gets hit so much better so that
Agreed.
So that every player is going to reach a level of competence. I feel like is what happens. And then some players thrive in it, but it's like, but even the players who have struggle, they get more competent and they just get better at just
and they still just perform sometimes beyond their ability.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers did better than 10-7.
No, I wouldn't either.
It's just a little hard to predict it, just because it's the Chargers.
Because they did draft. They drafted Joe Alt to be left tackle, but he's still a rookie. You're still in a really tough conference with a lot of good pass rushers. Tough division too.
We don't know how the receivers are going to shake out. Yeah, I mean, there's and it's not like they kept. It was probably good for them that they were able to keep Bosa and
Khalil
Mack.
But they're both getting up there. They're both reaching their mid-30s now.
Yeah, and there's still questions about their defense. And it's like, I think they'll all be better, which is why they'll have a better record. But it was hard to get beyond 10-7, even though I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me, oh, they end up 12-5, I'd be like, sure, okay.
Yeah.
Harbaugh could do that.
He could. I mean, this team was still somehow borderline with Brandon Staley as their coach.
Yeah.
And they were still in the playoff hunt late this season. So could Harbaugh be worth 3 to 4 wins? Well, we saw it in San Francisco. So yeah, absolutely.
Easily. So, all right. I had the Chiefs at 13-4, by the way. I didn't say that.
Okay.
So I had them a game. I just had them win one more game than you.
I don't think there's a lot to say on the Chiefs. Like you mentioned earlier, the Chiefs will get it done when they need to.
Yeah.
They're going to lose some weird games here and there. They always do.
As much as it may anger me, I think they're in a better position this year than they were last year. So.
I think they are, yeah. Because they just signed freaking Samar J.P. Ryan the other day.
Yeah. So
great. That's what you need, a pass-catching running back out of the backfield.
So,
great.
Yeah, unless
that's what your opponents need to hear.
It doesn't look like it's going to happen, but unless if Rashee Rice gets suspended, it doesn't look like it's going to happen this year because he doesn't have court till December. And this part, because I know I don't want to get too much into the
legal part
of stuff, because sometimes people get mad about it. They'll be like, oh, that's so ridiculous. They're just doing them a favor. I'm like, it is very fair for an organization to go, we will let the legal process play out first because we can't assume that he is guilty, even if we feel like he probably is.
Right.
We can't make that assumption. So we are going to let the legal process, then once the legal process plays out, and it's like, oh, yes, he is guilty, blah, blah, blah. Now we will implement, because otherwise you're attacking somebody before actually having.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the NFL itself being like,
it's like,
I think that's fair.
I'm like, but that part's fair. It's just like, yeah, it looks like he probably did do something wrong. But at this moment, it's technically alleged. You know, because it hasn't gone through a legal process yet. So, yeah, I just think Anyway, so but
And
anyway,
I like, and for me, like, I agree with all that. Like, because even as an organization, like, because if it were any other organization, you'd be doing the same thing.
yeah,
If it were like some high-ranking accountant or whatever, it's like let's let this legal process play out before
let's
we
look
make a
into
decision
it.
on this person's future.
Yeah,
Because at that point, you'd be like, you're saying this person's guilty before due process, and that's just not fair.
Yeah. So anyway, but let's get into the playoff seedings. Then,
Playoff teams,
I think,
AFC,
right?
let's go.
So who ended up as your 7th seed?
My 7 seed. Hold on, let me go through this real quick. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Chargers ended up as my 7 seed at 10-7.
Chargers, 7th seed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I have, based on everything that I have, the Jags miss out at 9-8. So do the Raiders.
Well, so I had both the Chargers and Broncos missed out at 10-7.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? I told
That's
you. I
wild.
told you.
Well, you do have all of the NFC North at like 11-6 or better. So yeah.
This is what happened.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised though. Like if everybody in the AFC North even stays relatively healthy, could all 4 of those teams go to the playoffs? 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I
could.
didn't have it happen, but I did have 3. But
Like you get all 4 of them, and then the other 3 are just division winners.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
So my 7th seed was the Steelers at 11-6.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I know. You know what I'm saying? I know it's crazy. My 6th seed is the.
Hold on, I got the Psychiatric Association.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 6th seed, I had the Bengals at 12-5.
I had a 6 seed.
The 6th seed. Oh, this
Although
is
my
feeling worse.
16
We're
is,
going through
I
it,
mean, my
feel
16
worse.
really isn't that far off. My 6 seed is the Browns at 11-6.
Browns.
So,
yeah. Okay.
Really, the biggest difference is like you have the 7 seed at 11-6, and I have them at 10-7.
Okay.
And they're just different teams.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'll try not to. beat
Like we've
myself
said,
up
the AFC is kind of stacked.
then who's your 5th seed?
That would be the Steelers, also at 11-6.
Okay. Hold on. I'm just taking these down so I can.
Oh, you're good.
So my 5th seed is the Bills at 12-5. So I guess
Okay.
so they had a tiebreaker of some better division record probably.
Yeah,
Than the
yeah.
Bengals. So yep. So which would make sense. My 4th seed was the Jaguars. Yeah, winning the AFC South at 10-7.
Wait, who's my 4th seed then? Oh, that would be the lowest division winner, which would be the Bills.
The Bills. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the Bills. That's
At
right.
11-6, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, there you go. And then my 3 seed would be the Chiefs because they're tied with the Ravens record-wise, but the Ravens have a better. Wait, no, actually, I take that back. The Chiefs would get the 2 seed because they beat the Ravens head-to-head.
It should tell you, doesn't it tell you?
I think it does. Maybe it does.
So if you're on just like the team view where you have the teams on the side, there's
no, I'm on the Texans team view right now. Hold on, here we go.
Yeah.
Conference rank for the Chiefs, number 2.
Number 2. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So who's
they-
your
they-
third then?
That would be the Ravens at 12-5. But the Chiefs
Ravens.
get the number 2 because they beat them head-to-head.
Let me see. So I also had the Ravens as a third. Yep, I actually had the same. Yeah, probably because we both picked the Chiefs.
Right, exactly.
Both
Yeah.
the Ravens and Chiefs at 13-4. So Ravens ended up third, Chiefs ended up second because of the Chiefs beating them head to head. See, playoff implications. We thought first game of the year.
First game of the year.
Game into play.
And our biggest difference is you have the Jets as the number 1 seed.
I do.
Jets are the number 1 seed.
I'm gonna have to get some ice cream and watch a romantic comedy after this.
Yeah.
This feels so bad.
Well, I mean, I have the Texans as the number 1 seed.
You have the Texans as the number 1 seed.
I do.
Wow. Well, I mean, actually, with their depending on how their division shakes out, I mean, yeah, it may not.
Yeah, because I feel like even if the Texans can split, like if they sweep their division and then go 7-4 in their other games, like I can see that, which is basically what I have them doing.
So me and you both have 3 teams from the AFC North going to the playoffs.
Correct.
Yeah. Which seems, I mean, that actually doesn't seem that crazy.
No, it doesn't. No, well, it happened last year. The Steelers,
you're right.
Browns, and Ravens all made it.
Yeah. So, except for now I'm switching out the Bengals for the Browns. I mean the Browns for the Bengals.
You're leaving out the Cleveland and putting in Cincinnati
it instead, but you have the same 3
are you there?
Going. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of cut out on my side. Anyways.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But so my difference was that the Bengals made it in instead of the Browns, but you had it being the same 3.
I have the same 3 going.
So what do you have different? So here's the thing. Here's the other thing though, and this may look bad for you.
Good thing this isn't my daytime job.
You've only got 1 new team in the playoffs.
Oh,
for the
do
AFC,
I really?
And that's not very common. That is not very common. So I've got, I think, 3 because I've got the Jets making it.
I have the Chargers, right? That's my only new team.
Yeah, so I have the Jets, Bengals, and Jags. Because I think it's usually around there. I mean, not that I tried to keep that in mind necessarily, but so
right.
It could be an outlier. It could happen. So it's just
right.
Just
I mean, well, especially with the Bengals and Jags, like I want to be able to put them in there because it's like with the Jaguars that it was that regular season collapse. I know Trevor Lawrence was injured, but dear God, was that a collapse?
Yeah.
And then with the Bengals, I'm so worried about that Joe Burrow injury history. And because of the AFC North being so good, that's where I'm just like, yeah, I want to put somebody new in there, but based on what we've seen, I can't get there. I know it's an outlier. Like I know that doesn't happen very often because injuries and weird turnover differentials and all this other crap comes into play. But this might be the year that like maybe the AFC playoffs are pretty much the same as last year.
Yeah, so we're going to pick our AFC wildcard winners first here. So my 4-5 seed was Bills at the Jaguars, just so people know. And I actually had the Jaguars winning.
Wow, that's way different than me because I have Steelers at Bills with the Bills winning.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it was tough. I mean, I was really fighting. I was like, do I want? It's just like,
and I could, and same thing for me. Like, I could absolutely see Pittsburgh, who's a great cold weather team, going into Buffalo and winning that game.
Yeah. So
I still just think Pittsburgh wouldn't have enough offensive firepower because I think that even with that great defense, the Bills would still find a way to put up 20 plus points.
Yeah.
And I just don't think the Steelers have enough offensive firepower to do that.
Yeah. No.
And especially what we saw last year.
If that were the matchup, if it was Steelers at Bills, I would probably do that too.
Because we literally saw it last year where like the Steelers hung in there and then it became too much in the end.
Yeah. And in this case, because the Jags won their division, I was like, well, the Bills aren't getting their home field freezing cold advantage. They're going to be down in Jacksonville.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, but that was tough. That was a tough one. Then my 6 playing the 3 seed, mine is the Bengals at the Ravens.
Well, mine's Browns Ravens, as we already know.
And I decided on more Lamar Jackson questions, and I have the Bengals winning.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I have the Ravens beating the Browns again. Like,
yeah.
Actually, that one wasn't that tough for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. It was like I thought about it at first, but I don't know. It's just like the Ravens beating the Browns at home.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that much of a stretch.
Yeah. Because again, I'm playing on Joe Burrow's healthy, and he's a freak, and I don't think it matters to him that he's on the road. So
no. Oh, agreed. I mean, he beat the freaking Chiefs on the road.
Exactly.
So to go to the Super Bowl.
And then my 7 versus 2 is the Steelers at the Chiefs, and I have the Chiefs.
I have Chargers, Chiefs, and also Chiefs.
Yeah. Whatever. Let's all be upset.
So, hey, we both have the Steelers losing in the first round, just different teams.
Yeah. All right. Good job, Russell.
Hey.
Okay.
Now you want to do divisional round?
So divisional then. Yeah. So who's your 4 versus 2 then? I know Chiefs are your 2, or not
3
4
versus 2.
I mean, whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry. So who do you have playing?
It's 4 versus 1 and 3 versus 2. Okay. 3 versus 2. I'm going the opposite. I have the opposite of last year's conference championship.
Oh.
I have the Ravens going in and beating the Chiefs. Because that would be like the ultimate revenge.
Some demons. See, mine ended up a lot easier because I have the Jags going to the Chiefs. I was like, Chiefs, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn it. It's like, this is working out for the Chiefs.
Fucking Chiefs again. Fuck.
And then, of course, as everybody is predicting, the Jets are the number 1 seed. So
everyone
going to the Jets, and I have the Jets beating the Bengals.
Oh my God, you have the Jets in the conference championship against the Chiefs.
There's something wrong with me. Something has gone terribly wrong.
Well, that's wildly different than me because now I have the Ravens and Texans in the conference championship, and I'm taking the Texans.
Oh,
I think the Texans then exercise their demons from last year and win the AFC.
So yeah, I have the Chiefs at the Jets. Guess who I picked, folks?
Oh my!
I stuck with the Jets.
You have the Jets in the fucking Super Bowl.
I'm gonna be so upset if this happens. But also,
honestly, you know what? I wouldn't be that upset because at least it's not the goddamn Chiefs.
I know. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe my brain was like, no, it can't be the Chiefs again.
Not for the 4th time in 5 years, damn it.
I think it's like Rodgers goes on a magical thing. His selfishness, his terribleness works for the 1 year. Salah's not nearly as bad as people seem to think he is. And it just all comes together in this 1 year, and they get to the Super Bowl and maybe completely fall flat the next year. I don't know about the next year. You're a crazy
person.
Huh?
You're a crazy person.
Yeah, insane.
I didn't think there was ever a point where somebody could drink enough to forget, but I think I'm hitting that point. Jordan has the New York Jets in the goddamn Super Bowl.
Just, it's insane. I told you. I texted you.
You did.
Wild.
You did. You warned me. You did warn me.
It's what happened, and I re-looked over things. I was like, that's just where I'm going.
I know you warned me, but maybe I didn't think it was going to be that batshit crazy.
It's just how I feel.
I know. That's fair.
Like,
I respect that.
It's like Mike Birbiglia has that joke about his wife. It's like he could argue with his wife about things, and then she would just be like, well, that's just how I feel. It doesn't matter if it's logical. It doesn't matter if you've got evidence against it. It's just how I feel. But yep, that's where we are. That's
man,
our AFC, folks. That's our AFC. So
and what a wild AFC it is.
So keep tuning in as we're going to be doing our NFC next. Keep an eye out. So we're going to end this quickly because we've already been on for a long time for our AFC.
Yeah, we have. Real quick. I'm now looking forward to our podcast at the end of the season to see how batshit insane you are.
Yeah. And then I will retire from a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So go ahead. Make sure you're following us or subscribing and all those kinds of things.
Or both, actually.
So we're on Spotify, on YouTube, and folks. So
that's it.
Check in. Our NFC predictions are coming up very soon, and I'm gonna go do a shot of something.
You do that. Yeah, you need one. I need one after that crap.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. This has been the Brothers Blitz podcast, and we'll see you all here in a tiny bit for our NFC predictions for the year.
Peace.